January 1st is pretty much the best time to look at your past trading year, figure out what you gotta do this year to get better, and how to improve moving forward. We want to start the year really strong here by bringing you a video that will help you prepare for the coming year and how to really make this year the best year you have so far in trading. There's a few key things we do every year, a few things we have a look at to make sure we are improving as traders, we are getting better, and we want to share this with you because it's really important to master that. So here's in this video a mastermind call that we did with our students a few weeks back in December, talking about what things we plan to improve this coming year and the exact success framework we use to prepare for this coming year in trading. No matter if you're watching this for 2026 or the next years after that, doesn't matter. It'll be the same principles that apply here. And I think you get a lot of value out of this. So make sure you take some notes, get ready. It's gonna be a very advanced, but yet really powerful mastermind call that you'll wanna take some notes on and you wanna apply this coming year. And we'll dive right into it.
Let's talk about this. This year, ask yourself, how did you do? All right, not about results. It sounds crazy, but we really don't want to focus on results today. We want to focus on your effort, right? Your achievements, and equally important, what did you identify this year that you know you need to take into the next year that you know you need to work on? So some of the talking points we'll cover is your assessment, like I said, identification. It's a very important part of this process, identifying the areas we need to focus on, right? Ask yourself this question, really important takeaway. We're going to have a lot of them today. What in the past is it telling you? What did your trading performance, maybe results, the overall performance and how you organized and structured your business, the activities you did, what is it telling you? What are you excelling in? What are some of the areas you need to work on? Right? That's what this is all about. What are some of the things you did this year that you really want to continue, really want to bring to the next level? And what do you want to eliminate? I say, this is just not working. I'm going to make a shift. Now's the time to start thinking about that. Right? And remember, I've always said this, if you're not growing, you're actually falling behind. Right? This whole world of trading and even life is like a treadmill. Right? If you're running 4 miles an hour or 5 kilometers an hour and the treadmill is going at 6, you're going to fall off. All right. And to be honest with you, these markets are so crazy that you almost need to be doing 6. All right. And lastly, I want you to think about the excuses. All right. We're human. We all make them, especially on losing trades. But I want to start thinking about and putting a bug in your ear about, what about these excuses? Is it time to say enough? I think it is. And it starts today. All right. I want you to think about that too. By the way, we all have excuses. I use them all the time, but I try to manage them and eliminate them if possible. And try not to blame the markets for everything. All right, let's go to the next slide. It's supposed to be intended to be a very thought-provoking session. All right, so this whole idea of making 2025 your breakout, big improvement year, wherever you are, maybe you're just starting out. Maybe this is your first mastermind call. Right? What are you going to do to make 2025 your breakout year? What a shocker. Development planning, right? That is the key. It's the crux to going from A to B. And even if you're at B, go to C. And even if you're at C, you want to make sure you go to the highest level of performing, right? That you can do. 20 years in the business, I'm still looking to go to that next level. So what are some of the sources? And this, if you've been around a while, you kind of know in our community, some of these things that we really preach. But I'm going to really hit it hard today, right? What are those sources of development, right? The first one, no brainer, right? The trade journal, right? Great source of identifying areas that you need to focus on for the next year, right? The challenge is how many keep a trade journal? This is like the first sort of excuse, the first gap, right? So if you don't have a trade journal and you don't know what to do with it, right? That's that sort of first sort of excuse that, come March saying it's not working, said, well, let's go to this list. Do you have this? Do you have that? Do you have this? And that's where the gap falls into play. But this year is going to be different. Next year, we're going to take a much more stricter stance. And I want you to be empowered to make sure you do that as well. So Trade Journal is the most incredible source of information that you can obtain to help you grow and crush it in the next year. All right. Your SWOT assessment. All right, many of you have completed your SWOT assessment where you have your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. But wait a second, that's not just a one-time thing. Let's take a look at that. This is the perfect time of year to take a look at that and say, you know what? This weakness is now a strength. I'm pretty good at that. But you know what? I have new areas of concern that have come up. Maybe you learned about how to be disciplined, but now you're increasing size. And you know what? I'm having trouble trading at this size. So dust off those SWOT assessments. Let's create some new ones. All right, refresh them. What were the current year's goals versus your results? Now, maybe you have sort of monetary goals, and I'm not a big fan of that, but maybe you had certain goals of compliance or other key metrics that you want to measure. What were your results compared to the goals, right? Very often you'll have this sort of gap, and that gap is the opportunity for development. So say you wanted to achieve 90% compliance on your trades, all your trades on average, all right? And you hit 82. Again, how are you measuring that? Through your trade journal. Well, there's a gap there. So one of the things on your planning and development for this coming year is how am I going to close that gap? And why do we want to focus on it? Because it's such a key metric, right? These are all key metrics for success. So looking at the areas where what your results were versus what your expectations were, very, very important. Great, great source of developmental planning and action plans for next year. All right. Next, the mentor accountability group learnings. If you are part of a group or part of a buddy system, and we're going to make some interesting sort of announcements in the next month or a few weeks about this, but what did they tell you? Going to those sort of accountability sessions, or maybe you have a mentor, maybe your coaching sessions, those are things identified. What did you learn from them? Okay. Great, great source of areas to take into the next year. All right. And then, of course, continuing education. What were the type of things that you were doing on a regular basis? Or more importantly, what was the gap and what you should be doing? For example, attendance or recordings of mastermind calls. How many dug deep into the archives, right? A lot of these calls are designed to pretty much be evergreen. You could look at any session at any time to help you with your development. So if you've identified an area or a gap, say, let me go to a mastermind call into the archives and say, is there anything there that can help me start with, closing this gap, right? We do that with intention. They're archived, and we very rarely have sessions that are very timely only to that month, right? Take advantage of your investment that you made in us and in your development, right? So these are just sort of the key focus is all on development planning. And these are great, great sources to help you in identifying the areas where you want to develop. All right. So when we create this development plan, all right, we've identified some areas and sources, but maybe we're still struggling. Maybe, the trade journal you didn't do this year. That's fine. You've identified it. Okay, let's move on. We're going to do that next year. What are some of the areas in development that you want to focus on? Right? Maybe you just don't have that identification yet. Well, most of us try to focus on performance, right? Trade execution, things like that. It's all great. I'm all for it. Obviously, that's what's going to get you, really, really important to get you as, to fulfill your dreams as a trader. But there are other things I want you to think about in your development, right? Things like technology. How can you do better with being a master of the technology that you need to succeed in this business, right? Are you excelling at your platform? Did you ever make those weird mistakes where you forgot to put a stop in? Or how does that OCO order thing work on your platform? All right. How do I use my app in case I have to run out and maybe close a position? Things like that. Very, very important. And I look back at my own mistakes, and a lot of them are technology based. I still make them today. Right. And if I only maybe was better well versed in the technology and tools that I have, I would be a better trader and ultimately a better performer. Okay. So it's not just about your platform, mastering your platform, learning the tools that you can do. What about other platforms? What about other brokers? Right? What do they have? That maybe can help you. All right. I was talking to someone yesterday about, I think I recommended that market profile, maybe a pretty cool tool you can use. And they said, well, I don't have that on my platform. So what do you think my answer was? Get another platform. Okay. So these are some things you want to think about in your development. All right. How about funding? All right. If you're looking to get funded or you're looking to build your business with outside capital, right? What are some of the things you need to do to help develop that? It's not necessarily in your development plan, get funded. That's a goal, right? What am I going to do to help me take the actions to help me get funded, right? Maybe it's exploring the best prop firms for me. Maybe it's talking to other people to let them know what I do in my business. Let them know that I'm a trader. Maybe there's outside capital that's an opportunity. Maybe talking to people who are managing capital. Say, hey, can you help me? Is there anything you can do? All right. Is there any tips on, how do I talk to people and approach people? Right. So funding and business building is a very, very important part of development. Right? And keep in mind, business building can go outside of the trading scope. And we'll talk about that in a second. Next, building your network. Right? I'm saying these things, and I'm going to pause here on bullet 4, but I'm saying these things because when I see the successful traders and the ones that really have that learning curve down, it's not just focusing on strategy. Where do I put my stop? Things like that, right? They're building their business with all these type of things, and they have a development plan to take action to help them develop and narrow that curve and learning curve and what to do. A key part of that is building your network, building your trader network. Maybe it's a coach. Maybe it's a buddy, mentor, accountability groups, attending the accountability groups, contributing to accountability groups, right? Adding value to your trading partner and having them do the same for you. All right. Building that network really opens the doors, not just for your success in trading, but as a business, right? And maybe wherever this journey may take you. Very, very important. We will also talk about that in a future mastermind call as well. Next, education and training, right? What are some of the trainings you're doing? What's your plan to educate? Obviously, attending this session is a great, great way to check a box here. We feel our mastermind calls are really, really valuable. And when you look at them as a portfolio of training, we think we're some of the best out there. Okay. Next, physical and better you. Part of your development as a trader is to be the best you can be. All right. And believe me, there's no better person than myself to say, I'm working on this too. I think it's one of the biggest strides I've had this year. But it has nothing to do with, where do I enter on Secretariat? Right? A better you is not just physical. It's about living abundance, out of state of abundance, having a good attitude, right? Taking criticism from maybe your mentor or coach or other fellow trader, right? Participation and getting involved in activities, maybe the Slack channel group, things like that. This all makes you a better you. And I am 100% convinced this last bullet, including all the others, will transfer its way into you having more success as a trader. Okay. So what I'm doing here is widening the scope of your development plan. Okay? Really, really important. And this is sort of a tone that you'll probably see in the next year from our company to expand that scope. Yes, we want you to have the tools and the rules to be able to execute strategies, but there's a whole thing that goes on. And when I see the ones that are being successful, they're kind of nailing it in the other areas of their trading business, right? So some things to think about when you put together your development and say, what are some of the things I need to work on? By the way, the better you, one of the best things I did this year was I got a performance coach, right? I hired a performance coach, and not necessarily for trading, just overall business performance. And it's paid off I can't tell you the thousands of percent it's paid off. Still got work to do there, though, on that last bullet, but we're getting there. My before and after pictures are starting to look good. Okay, Alex, we can go to the next slide. All right. Also, get your questions together. We'll address them shortly for sure. Okay, so let's take a little deep dive with a slide. This sort of outside the box development, right? That last bullet, things like that. We're going to go a little outside the box. We're going to expand the box in regards to development. Okay, that's like a big goal I have for 2025 to help you guys become successful, guys and girls. Let's expand this box. And when you put your development plan together, I'd like to see some of these things, right? We just talked about it. Well-being, health, physical, behavioral, okay? The world is crazy right now, okay? And to become successful as a trader, it really requires focus. All the other things, the knowledge, things like that, but it requires this sort of focus and mental attitude. And sometimes, very often sometimes, we're challenged by that. Right? What are we going to do in your development to handle that? Maybe it's a physical thing. All right. Maybe it's the ability to stay focused for the entire trading day. Maybe it's just a physical thing itself. Maybe it's a behavioral. Maybe it's well-being. How do you handle maybe family members who doubt your ability to succeed? All right. It's all about well-being. Next, your success network. We are going to have an entire mastermind session. I think it's in March on your success network. Right? To me, this is big. Nobody talks about this, but I am 100% convinced that you can't do this alone. It's very, very difficult. Yes, there are outliers. And you took the step to be a part of our company and part of our community. And that's a great, great step. Let's take that one step further and really optimize the community that you're in, but also outside of desire to trade, the things you can do to put the people in place in your life. Right? Maybe it's for motivation. Maybe it's for funding. Who knows? Maybe it's the person of your dreams that sort of just makes you a calm person and allows you to trade better. Okay. Maybe it's someone who went through a rough time and you were inspired by them and say, you know what? My life ain't so bad, right? Things like that. So putting together the success network is really, really important. We're going to spend a good session in a few months on that. Right? But think about in your development plan, what is my success network? Who are the people in my life? Who's my dream team? Next, again, we're thinking outside the box here. The level of articulation. Okay, this is really outside the box. But I want you to start thinking about how you communicate to traders, the questions that you ask. We encourage them, and we'll never ever criticize anyone who has a question. There really is no dumb question. All right. But when you listen to your words, think about how you can improve in that. Right? Sometimes I'll see something like, I thought Powell was going to make the market go up, but I was surprised to see, it not do that. Right. But that's okay. I had a really big winning trade that day, and, I'm really crushing it. Think about the words in the articulation. It's not a criticism, but it's saying you're trying to pick direction. You had too much size on a news event, things like that. So we'll work on this, okay? But think about in your development plan, what are the things I say? How do I talk to a prop firm manager, right? Things like that. Right? And we're going to cover a lot of this stuff in our masterminds and other stuff in the next year over here at Desire to Trade. So you're in the right place. The next is the art of attraction, right? Really outside the box, but I'll make it simple. It's about living a life of abundance, right? Versus scarcity. Afraid to push that button when you're not sure, even though it's an A+ setup, right? Mastering the art of attraction is about this abundance thing where, no, the odds are in my favor. I'm doing it every time, right? Having the things in your life where the challenges where you can put those aside, right? And say, I got to focus on my trading And the reason I'm want to be a trader is because I can attack these sort of demons in my life. All right. It's not just about attraction of money. It's about attraction of sort of abundance lifestyle. All right. It brings confidence. And the reason I put it here is because at the end of the day, when I look at the successful traders, they're living a life of a quote abundance. And that doesn't mean a perfect life. It just means they're able to manage the obstacles that they have in their life. Right? And next, success management. This is something, another mastermind call that we're going to have, right? Some earlier in the year, I forget what month. One of the things I'm finding is, again, the cool thing about coaching is you get to see a big sample size. And how one handles the journey towards being a successful trader is very, very important. It's, the whole thing about treat it like a business, it's very true, but no one really explains what the hell that means. Right? I think it's very vague, to be honest with you. And it's not about accounting, like, profits and loss. It's about how you handle yourself and prepare yourself for success. And it's really, really important. And we're going to go outside the box during these sessions when we talk about this. But it's about having the right people. It's kind of a blend of your success network, business savvy, how to talk with and get what you need. All right. Finding the needs. You have identified things in your development plan, how you go about solving and solution-based success management. Really, really important. And when I see the people who are struggling and people who are kind of on their way, there's one individual I think about a lot, and I say, I would fund this person in a minute, and they're not even profitable yet because I know they have this sort of success management in place. So something to think about, a little vague, but what I'm trying to do here is to keep kind of widen the box in regards to the things you want to put on your development plan for next year. All right. I don't think you're going to find this anywhere in any trading program out there. Okay. So we got a couple slides left. I'm not going to bombard you, but let's look at a sort of a sample here of what I'm talking about. I'm talking a little abstract the past few slides. All right. So let's look at something more, an example of something specific that you can consider. So say your compliance in your trade execution isn't where you want it to be, right? You've identified that gap, right? It's really cool, good step. So you want an increase in compliance, right? Why you want to do that? It will lead to a greater profit and loss and success as a trader, right? So this is a key driver that you've identified. What are some of the actions that you can do? Right? And say you want to minimize drawdown, that's another example, right? You want to reach your funding goals, right? Which I know a lot of people either have, even when they're funded, they want to go further. All right. So these are some things you've identified you want to do in your development plan. What are some of the specific actions that you can take? Well, one, have a stop placement and targets before each trade. What will that do? Prevent the big loss, the big blow up, things like that. All right. Is that going to help in your compliance? Absolutely. So you have a purpose you've identified and an action that you want to take. And you're going to measure that action in your journal. Right? So I'll have a stop placement and targets before each trade. That should be, for the most part, 98%. Okay. And a good reason for the other 2%. Okay. What other action can you take? You're going to review your strategy to assure you understand compliance. So saying I want to be compliant with a trade or a strategy. Well, how do you know what compliance is? Right? It's not just about entering. It's the identifying the setup. Is it quote unquote, a valid setup? The entry, how do you manage the trade? When do you trail? When do you not? These are all the rules in your strategy, right? So you're going to review your strategy to assure you understand what compliance really is. Third one, right? No brainer. We're going to journal your trades and identify the reasons for non-compliant trades, right? So see how this all kind of fits like a glove? Because that's what we want to work on. Here's an opportunity to increase your compliance. Pre-populate trades in your journal before the entry, right? So when you see your setup occurring, you want to pre-populate the sort of core stuff that you can populate in your journal, right? You're not going to have the outcome, obviously. By doing that, you tend, at least historically, tend to force compliance trades only. When you start typing that in and you know it's a non-compliant trade, you're going to kind of be looking at yourself going, I know I shouldn't be doing this. It's going to make you think twice. Little actions like this, practical solutions, increase your compliance by 50%. I guarantee it. All right. And next, maybe obtain a trading partner to oversee your compliance. Because every once in a while, that trading partner will say, hey, are you sure you want to take that trade? If they kind of get under your skin and you don't take it, you, in essence, already have increased your compliance rate. While I'm talking very abstract, these are practical solutions. You identified an area, particularly in this example, like compliance, funding goals or drawdowns, and specific actions you can take. So development plan has two components to it, right? The identified thing and the action, and ultimately monitoring your results from these actions. All right. So see how we're taking sort of little concepts, but applying specific things you can do starting Monday to attack an area of development. We doing good? A couple more slides. I'll give you a lot here. Okay. There's a lot we chewed on here. And what's my purpose here, of course? To get you to take action, take that step. Because the challenge we see is that a lot of people don't even take those initial steps and then wonder why they're struggling, right? So I'll make a commitment if you make a commitment. We'll have a special Zoom session, right? Not the mastermind session. We'll have a special Zoom session. But I need something from you, all right? If you make a commitment, I'll make a commitment to the time, right? Complete your SWOT assessment, right? Just list your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, right? And if you've already done that, modify it. And if there's no changes, that's fine too. There's no template. There's no, I want abstract as possible. All right. This is your business. Right? There's no wrong answers. And a draft development plan. Right? It could be on a napkin. We just want to see you take that step. We want to push you to take that step. And if you can do it before the end of the year, that would be great. I'll look at it in the last few days of the year. And for those who do so, all right, we'll send an invite for a Zoom link and we'll discuss your plans in a group format session. All right, we'll talk generically, but we'll also talk about specific things because a lot of other traders can help. We'll think about other ways to put on their development plan too. So it'll be a group session, but with kind of a targeted feel as well. All right. We'll walk through the individual plans. We'll make recommendations, things like that. And if you'd like, we'll even have a follow-up session mid-February, kind of how'd you do the first month? Did you fall off the wagon a little bit on this one, or I didn't get started on this one? Happens to all of us. All right. So make that commitment. You can send it to me, DM in Slack. You can send me the email, whatever you like to do. Right? What I'm not going to supply is I'm not going to supply templates. What does yours look like, Mike? I want to keep it organic and generic. Right? Like I said, it could be on a napkin. How's that for a little challenge for the end of the year? See, I'm ruining everybody's holiday. No, but you know what? I'm kind of taking a little more of a stand here because I want everyone to be successful and I'm never satisfied. Like there's no trader left behind with me. And I see the light with a lot of traders, but I know some are just this year may have, not hit their expectations. And I want to make sure, even if I'm a pain in the neck, to make sure we get a fresh start and say, hey, you know what? No more corner cutting, no more excuses like I mentioned before. Let's do this. Let's do it right. Let's have a community where we can all just say, okay, may not be hitting my goals, but I'm certainly getting there. Right? But little newsflash, I've been doing this 24 years and I still aren't hitting my goals. Because if I did, very good chance my goals are not high enough.
So if you got some value out of this, make sure to comment below with your favorite advice from this mastermind call, anything you took away from, any specific sentence or quote that really resonated with you. Make sure you comment below. Let's make this a powerful year. I want to hear your thoughts in the comment section on how you're going to make this year better than the last one, what things you will change, what new lessons you will apply, and how it's going to change from the past year. This should be your best trading year no matter what. It doesn't matter if you make more or less returns. It's all about how you show up for it and the mindset you come in with. And and how that really shapes your future career in trading. So looking forward to really good content in trading this year. If there's anything you want me to cover in this year's videos, comment below. Let me know what you want me to cover or talk about. I'll be happy to do more videos. We have a really cool team now with Kevin, with Jean-François, with Tanandro, and myself. We'll be happy to serve you and to bring you the best trading lessons we've got. And we'll catch you back here in the next video pretty soon. Ciao.